This is actually a big moment when we realize that content structures or schemas can flex and change. That's the basis for this new nimble world of knowledge. Schemas are built from nodes, and nodes can transform. In the world that's disappearing, it was fine to have one documentation portal, one content management platform that managed all the content and all the templates that contain that content. That world is quickly disappearing. One CMS to rule them all, one content portal, none of that really is going to exist in a vacuum. Content has to move from place to place, system to system. Let's continue to move towards this multi-dimensional way of understanding content structure so we can get it across these systems. And let's get to know more about these nodes that are the basis of all structure. Then we can work across multiple content systems. Now, to help join our understanding, we will dive into a story. Abstract things are best understood by example. Let's look through the lens of a real-life customer experience. We'll examine the role that nodes play as information travels from state to state and system to system. This example is from the healthcare industry, showing the process that patients encounter trying to understand how their symptoms match to conditions. This is exactly the same process that all customers go through in other knowledge matching workflows. A real-life doctor would never just dump generic information blindly on a patient. They would take your temperature, listen to your heart and your breathing, ask you about your symptoms, and then diagnose the problem. Whether we're dealing with diagnostics for service technicians, connecting users to the right documentation, giving customers relevant support, or any other type of customer problem solving, the overall process, the overall pattern is the same. We need to listen and then respond. In a market crowded by complexity and bad quality, if you give customers insight and signal and relevance, don't just dump content on them, they will come to your brand with money in hand and beg you for more. And that's not just marketing, that's in support and docs and management and training and any other interaction. It all requires listening and responding. All right, so let's be a healthcare patient for a moment. And we all are, so we can relate. But it's a post-pandemic era. So you visit a healthcare provider online, you have a set of symptoms. These symptoms are personal to your experience. So you describe those symptoms. That can happen as a chatbot interaction in text, or as a voice dialogue with an Alexa skill, or as a set of selection boxes in a mobile application, or by selecting symptoms in a wizard on a website. Or it could even happen via direct data collection from a medical device. All of those inputs are potential ways of gathering the patient's symptom context. Based on the combination chosen, then a triage algorithm uses our patient input plus its configurations and perhaps some machine learning to go to optimize those responses, and it assembles a customized set of content that addresses your particular symptoms. Because that content is structured, it can be delivered to any channel equally well via Content API. But to get there, to get to that content as a service endpoint and out to those patient experiences, structured information has to exist in many systems. And so information modules have to map into the structure for each system that interacts with the content. You see the challenge? It's not the same schema from system to system, is it? And every channel has a separate representation schema, right? So in our example, there might be a dozen or more schemas across a dozen or more systems that interact with content. So in the new world, the content has to be decoupled. It has to move and transform from system to system. And the structure itself has to adapt to the expressions needed for each platform and each channel. So it's not just the content, it's the structure itself. But first, we have to design and manage that structure at the totally abstract model level. We need content modeling. That is why we actually need a core content model, what A has called the master content model in the past. It's a unified, abstract, structural representation of all of the knowledge in a domain, all of the structures. It contains the content types, elements, and their attributes. And then, and here's the most important part, it contains the mappings between schemas. From system to system, all of those schemas need to be connected at the abstract structural level in a single source. Then we can make content systems understand each other. Then we can make the content itself available to apply across channels and systems that don't even exist yet, because the structure exists independently of any system. Thanks for joining as we walk through this example of modular content in action. We saw content being transformed at a nodal level. For more information about the systems and tools that make transformation possible, check out our other videos on these topics, along with the resources that are linked in the description. Let's take these ideas and put them into motion. Everyone watching this is an influencer. Our words and our actions shape the future of knowledge that we get to experience together. Everyone has the ability to connect the nodes that are inside of all of us and create knowledge and create an understanding of the world we're going to step into. So let's do it. Let's take one step at a time towards a smarter world.